My name is Clara Grace. I'm 28, born and raised in Savannah, Georgia. I've always been different. Not for what I say, but for how I look. You see, I'm what some folks call too much woman, too curvy for the runway, too soft for the city, and apparently too much for the man who ordered me like a package. Yes, you heard that right. I was a mail order bride. It sounds strange, I know, but after years of trying to find real love and being overlooked because of my size, I answered an ad. A lonely widower rancher in Montana, looking for companionship, someone to share his quiet life. He said he wanted, kind heart, not a perfect body. I believed him. I sold everything I had, packed my bags, and boarded a Greyhound bus to the middle of nowhere. My heart full of hope, my fingers shaking with nerves. I arrived in the tiny town of Elk Ridge expecting a warm welcome. Instead, I got a long, cold stare. He was standing by the fence when I stepped off the truck. Tall, lean, with silver dusting his beard. His name was Paul, but he didn't look happy to see me. His eyes drifted down to my hips, my full figure, my round face. And then he muttered, "This isn't what I ordered." I blinked. "Excuse me." I asked for someone modest. Fit. I don't need someone who'll slow me down. He didn't even help me with my suitcase. I was there less than 15 minutes before he drove me to the bus stop himself, said I could go back to wherever I came from, that the agency made a mistake. It's funny. You grow up thinking rejection gets easier, but somehow it cuts deeper when you actually start to believe someone might want you for who you are. I sat at that dusty bus stop for hours. The wind kept tugging at my coat, and the cold crept into my bones. But I was too proud to cry. That's when he showed up. He drove an old red truck, engine sputtering like it was held together by prayers. He wore a flannel shirt and a quiet kind of sadness in his eyes. His name was Ely. He pulled up, looked at me for a long moment, then said softly, "You're not from around here, are you?" I gave a small smile. "Not anymore, I guess." He offered me a ride and some coffee while I waited, said he didn't like seeing people alone in the cold. At first I refused, but there was something about him steady, respectful, no judgment in his eyes, just kindness. We talked for hours, about life, about dreams, about what it feels like to always be too much. For some and not enough, for others. Turns out I had lost his wife 2 years ago, cancer. He never talked much to anyone since. Said the silence of his ranch was the only thing that didn't lie. But that night, he talked to me. As I got ready to leave, he looked at me like he was seeing someone he thought he'd lost long ago. He said, "You know, when my wife was sick, people stopped looking at her like she was a woman. They only saw the illness. But I saw her soul. That never changed. Then, after a long pause, he added quietly, "When I look at you, I see a soul, Clara, a strong one." The bus never came that night. Snow had blocked the roads, and maybe that was fate. I stayed a few days, then a week. Then the spring came, and Eli asked me to help him plant wildflowers by the fence line where his wife used to sit. He never once mentioned my body. Instead, he praised the way I sang while baking, how I made the house feel full again, how I laughed from the heart and cried at old country songs. He said I didn't just belong on the ranch. I belonged in his life. I wasn't what one man hoarded, but I was exactly what another soul needed. So if the world ever tells you you're too much or not enough, remember the right hearts see past the surface. They see you. And sometimes, all it takes is one quiet rancher to remind you of your real worth.